Hey guys, Ethan here from the GOHUNT Gear Shop, and I'm standing here with Matt Davis, founder, Final Rise. It's a brand new line that we've got here in the GOHUNT Gear Shop, and it's the whole lineup of Upland Vests and accessories. So without further ado, Matt, take it away. Run me through each of these vests and why you did it, what you were trying to accomplish, some of these accessories that you got here, and show's yours.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity, and just so stoked to be able to offer Final Rise through GOHUNT. Been a supporter of your guys' business for a long time, and so it's just a dream come true for us to be able to manufacturing 100% American-made product, Upland gear, and offering that through you guys. You know, I'm a big game hunter as well, but when the snow starts flying, I love getting behind the dogs and chasing some birds. And so diving into the gear, there's a lot of really good stuff up here, and really the goal and the vision for Final Rise was to elevate the quality of gear that was offered into the upland space. Like I said, I do a lot of big game hunting. I'm very familiar with a lot of the higher end backpacks. I used a lot of the great gear that's offered in the upland space, but felt that there was an opportunity to kind of merge some of the ideologies and concepts and make a little bit better product.
Well, I think the best thing too is that, I mean, I grew up quail hunting in Arizona.
Yep.
So I've been upland hunting. I haven't done it as much. I want to get back into it. My big game season's over. It's December. I'm looking to do some upland, you know what I mean? So if I'm someone that's like, I want to keep hunting through the winter, upland's where I got to go, right? So,
absolutely, and that was a big part of it for me. I mean, truthfully, aside from maybe 1 or 2 months out of the year, I can't hunt because we got spring bear, we got spring turkey. I mean, legitimately, if I can get behind my dogs, I can hunt through February in Utah. And so, and anyways, I could dive down the rabbit hole there, but to dive into this and not make this a 1 hour video for everybody that's watching, because I just want to get to the meat and potatoes here. I'm going to start on the far right here. This is our legacy vest. So this was the second vest that we eventually developed, and it stemmed from our summit vest, which I'll dive into a little bit. This is really a simplified and streamlined version of this vest. And we removed a little bit of the MOLLE webbing on back, which means it's not as compatible with all the different accessories, but some of the fundamental items that are going to work with it. Jacket lashes. I love being able to strap, you know, a jacket to the back of my vest. I'm not having to put it in with the birds, blood, feather, junk, spent holes, all that different stuff. And realizing that there are people that, you know, I'm a chucker hunter, so I'm kind of on the goofy end of the spectrum. I'm a little crazy in the head. I love going out all day. And I realized that that's a small percentage of the hunters. And so streamlining a product, making something a little bit lighter weight, a little more simple in functionality, and offering, and I'll hold this up a little bit because we got a full table. So this vest right here, we've got a single zippered pocket in the back right here. We have 375 visible cubic inches of orange on the vest. These pouches on either side are specifically for water bottles. We've got the yoke in the back of the vest here that you can adjust and to be able to fit your torso. If we flip around here, we've got the sternum strap on the front. You got some play here. We got a simplified shell pocket, kind of a tried and true concept. And then one thing that's universal across all of these vests is our waist belt and the shoulder harness. That really is the foundation. And what I wanted to do is kind of create the ability for people to laterally change out products. And what I mean by that, so say for example, you get into a summit or legacy or a sidekick and you want to swap out the game bag. Maybe you're using this for some quail hunting late season where you're doing shorter hunts, you're coming back to the truck more frequently, you're swapping dogs. You don't have to be out all day, so you don't need to be able to carry a bunch of stuff. You know, you're never more than half mile, couple hundred yards from the rig. That's going to check the boxes for those. But then say you get into training season or something, or you turkey hunting or whatever, you can just swap out the game bag because the whole thing's modular, right? You can again leverage that waist belt and that shoulder harness, and it's just a lot of plug and play, right? That's the whole beauty of MOLLE webbing, is you have a lot of flexibility.
Right, and even for turkey hunting, you were saying like you can swap this out. You can take off the orange, switch to the brown and the green, and just be ready to go for those.
Absolutely. I mean, I use a pair of these side pockets, which are essentially the shell pockets on this vest, on my turkey vest. So it's all modular. It's just all plug and play, and so you can really configure that kit. And let's be honest, everybody has different hopes and desires from their gear, and so the goal was to create a foundation that each hunter could then go and take and customize to their particular hunting style or whatever they're doing, instead instead of a one size fits all and what you see is what you get. No, this is kind of your blank canvas, if you will, to go and be able to set up your dream hunting rig.
Yeah, it's perfect. What's
Moving on, this is our Sidekick vest. This was actually the most recent addition to the Final Rise lineup. This was something that was in the works for a long time. We launched the Legacy. That was a giant success, and it took a little bit of time to get the internal bandwidth to be able to get to this. This is, I call it almost a quail bag on steroids, if you will. You know, traditionally, quail hunters or dog trainers and a more minimal setup, it was so minimal that it was almost forgetting a lot of the essential features that these guys needed. For example, quail hunters, well, yeah, you don't need something you don't need a giant game bag because you're shooting quail, right? But you also need the ability to be able to carry the water for your dogs if you're going on bigger walks, but you want better ventilation. And so this was really the answer specifically for covey bird hunters, quail hunters, dog trainers, etc. This can be run without the shoulder harness. This is 100% removable. So if you want to dump the shoulder harness and run it in a lighter weight setup, you have the ability to do that. Large zipper pouch on the back here, 2 on the sides, and this is a lumbar bladder compatible system as well, in addition to the water bottles that are going to come on there. So yes, it's minimal and small in scale, but you'd be surprised how much you can fit in there. I mean, when I was going from later season, when there's snow on the ground and the dogs don't need to drink a lot of water, I actually did quite a bit of chucker hunting in this because I didn't need the water capacity, right? You know, I could go out, I've got, you know, you got the molly webbing here, you can put jacket lashes on this. You can fit quite a bit of gear in there. So this was just that more simplified version. Again, dog trainers, covey hunters, and guys that just want a light season early setup where it's just super hot. Lots of guys, Montana, the Dakotas, people that are hunting early season sharptail and stuff like that. I was in Montana earlier this year for about a week, ran this. It was fantastic. It's a little bit smaller game bag, so if you're getting into, you know, states where you can shoot, you know, 4+ roosters or whatnot, I'd probably go to another game bag specifically, but 4 sharptail fit great, and up to 3 roosters is going to be more than enough for this. And then, of course, all your covey birds.
All those quail. I mean, I know when I go quail hunting or when I was quail hunting, I needed more shells than I could carry. You know what I mean? Because they're so fast off that ground.
Yep.
And so having these shell holders here, they're nice and deep. I can carry plenty of shells for when I miss.
There's plenty of room for those, and I love having zippered pockets specifically because I can also carry a bunch of other gear in there. So. And then this was the original kind of the flagship do-all workhorse vest, and this is our Summit vest. This was kind of, again, the melting pot, if you will, of all the awesome things that I experienced in backpack hunting and a lot of the experience that I had with a lot of the great products that are already in the upland market. And the goal, again, was just raise that standard. How can we make it better? How can we make it more comfortable? And so I'll dive into a little bit deeper context on this and explain some of the whys of some of the intricacies of this vest, even though they're the same across here. One of the things that people that backpack hunt or big game hunt are going to be very familiar with is a lumbar pad, right? And the additional support that provides, right? You got to think if around the circumference of your torso, right above your bum and that little indentation, that's probably 15 to 20% of surface area that isn't being contacted at full times. And so a lot of bird hunters specifically, you know, you get done, you get back to the truck and your neck's sore, your traps hurt. Definitely. Well, that's because you don't have a weight-bearing waist belt that's actually supporting that system. And so that lumbar pad to fill that void, to keep that vest from sagging down, that's really the foundation of that fat strap vest, because ultimately it's kind of like a glorified fanny pack if you really think about it, right? And being able to have that lumbar pad and have that support allows us to do something that's a little bit different when it comes to the shoulder harnesses. A lot of the Upland vests out there try to mirror a lot of the concepts that come from backpacking. But if you're a wing shooter and you enjoy shooting a shotgun a lot, you understand how important shotgun fit is to being able to shoot the bird. Right? You're talking about missing and different things like that. I have a saying that if you miss the mount, you're going to miss the bird. And more times than not, padding in a shoulder harness is going to change the way that you consistently mount a gun, right? Consistency is the name of the game. Just like shooting your bow, you have to have an anchor point, and you have to be able to go through your shot sequence. Wing shooting is a lot more instinctive than that, But we have, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that we don't use any padding in our shoulder harness. This is going to lay extremely flat to your chest. All of our hardware is designed to mount as low as possible, so it is a sternum strap. It's designed to sit down by your sternum, not necessarily be up here. And if we keep that shoulder pocket clean, when you go to mount the gun, there's nothing there to block that.
Yeah.
But if there's any type of padding, it makes an absolute difference. I can't tell you how many times I get calls from customers that's their complaint, right? Is, hey, I've got this awesome vest, it's comfortable, it does all these different things, but I go hunting and I can't hit jack squat with it because it's consistently hitting a buckle or it's doing this. And so that was just something that I recognized early on in my wing shooting and wanted to make sure that we were able to accomplish with this vest. And the only way we're able to do that was by, designing the proper waist belt, including the lumbar pad, all that good stuff. Game bag itself, there's 3 zippered pockets on this, and maybe what I'll do is I'll actually just do kind of a gear dump on my personal vest, and that will kind of give everybody a little bit in depth. So a little bit more in depth, I guess I'll say here. So this is the old war horse right here. She's on her third season, so it's a little dirty for the most part, but I think that's just a testament to the product itself. So starting in the game bag, like I said, there's 3 zippered pockets. There's one here in this rear triangle, and there's one on either side. In my rear triangle here, I have some poop paper, of course.
Perfect.
I've got a short lead. Depending on where I go hunt, there's times I may end up walking back down to a road, having a lead to be able to put on my dog and keep them close so they don't get hit by a car is nice. I've got a fixed blade in there. I'm just going to set this on the ground because it'll take way too long to put it away. And one of the other really important features of this vest that's I guess I'm super proud of, and just kind of, I guess, an innovation that I feel that Final Rise has brought to the market is these vests have the ability to carry a dog, specifically the Summit and the Legacy vest. And the way that works is, I'll flip it around here, and for time's sakes, I won't fully disassemble the vest, but this piece of webbing is one continuous piece that's routed through these panels, and as you notice, they can split apart.
Right.
And so in unrouting this, you're able to then open this, lay the dog inside it, basically wrap it out like a taco, and then re-secure that. And the reason that we don't use ladder locks, a ladder lock is this little slippy dude right here, right on the front of a shoulder harness. Very easy to adjust. We don't use the ladder locks on the rear yoke. We use these metal bar sliders because of how hard they bite into that webbing and how secure they are. So the nice thing is, not only when you set your vest up, your torso length isn't going to change, right? So the whole setup, forget it, that's wonderful. But then when you need to be able to carry a dog, people have asked, why don't you do buckles, or why don't you do this? It might be quicker. It might be quicker to put the dog in, but you may be fiddle farting around with your vest even more if the plastics aren't holding the webbing and securing the dog during the transportation process. So the goal, again, was just to make something that was bulletproof and going to perform in the heat of the moment there. So that's a feature that I'm super, super proud of, and some innovation that we personally brought to the market.
That's perfect.
I do have one of our modular orange panels on the back of the vest as well. One of the things, there's plenty of guys that like using these vests for turkey hunting, jump shooting ducks, and there's plenty of states that you aren't required to legally wear orange, and some guys don't want people to know that where their honey holes are, right, when they're out chasing birds. But for those states that you do need, a certain amount of orange, this modular panel is just a great addition. It's going to put visibility in a spot that people can see. Top that off with an orange jacket or an orange hat, and you're great. And then when you don't need it, I can pop that off, and then I can head back to the turkey woods or do whatever I've got going on. Back of the vest, using that molly webbing, we've got the jacket lashes. This is a very simple, tried and true concept, like on the back of a cowboy saddle, just simple lashes to be able to strap your jacket there. Again, to the point to keep stuff out of the inside of your game bag. If you looked inside mine, it's 3 years old and I haven't washed it, so it's a little grimy, but it's nice to just be able to have that jacket there. And it's also a great spot as far as a weight perspective of where that's holding it, right? You got to think, anytime you're putting weight far away from your body and below your waistline, that is what is pulling on that shoulder harness. And so when we designed the pockets and designed the layout of this, just like when you're loading a backpack and there's a certain way, you put your sleeping bag and your tent at the bottom and then your food close to your back. we wanted to mirror those same concepts and almost make it foolproof that no matter how you loaded this vest, no matter how you filled the pockets, you couldn't screw it up and it was going to be comfortable.
And it goes back to that lumbar pad like you're talking about, right? That's gonna
Absolutely.
keep all that comfort and that weight sitting right there and not going to go anywhere.
Exactly right. It can't shift around. So got that on each of the side pockets. Those pockets run here. There's a zipper across the top. Hopefully the camera can see that. I won't pull all this out. I've got some first aid kit stuff. I've got a screwdriver, extra set of hemostats, fire starter, headlamp, and paracord. And then on this other side, I have a full first aid kit for a field kit, and then I keep these. Right. This is an additional pocket. So this particular pocket, this is called a side pocket, and it is designed to add additional carrying capacity on the outside of your vest there. There's plenty of guys. I run a fairly minimal kit, but there's plenty of guys that guide or running with multiple clients or just have a more robust field kit. Right. And they just like to be able to carry that. So that's really what these additional pockets are. This rear one that we've got here, that's designed to attach to the MOLLE webbing on the back. Gotcha. So you can outfit this and really carry more than you probably should. But you can have a pretty extensive kit in there. And then on the inside of the vest, these are bladder compatible as well, vertical and lumbar. We've got a clip at the top. I've got a little bird tote on here, but clip it in. There's a sleeve that runs horizontally. On the inside of that, the bottom of the bag is going to be cradled. The reason that we did the sleeve inside, if you see here, hopefully, this is just all mesh. And what I've seen on other vests is they will create a pocket or a sleeve that sits against your back and it's not going to breathe, right? And that for me, I'm already sweating enough as it is. I don't need any more running down my butt crack. So
totally, yeah.
That ventilation.
It's always uncomfortable too. Right?
Yeah, that ventilation is important. So when I don't have a bladder in here, I have a pair of, got some grouse feathers, speaking of birds, some cable nippers here if we run into a snare. I've got a little collapsible dog bowl and some almonds in there. So just a really streamlined way to be able to keep all your kit organized. I'm big on just knowing where everything is. So
yeah, definitely.
So that's the game bag. Like I said, non-padded shoulder harness. And then our shell pockets. We call this a 3-stage shell pocket, a little different from the offering on the other two vests. This has a Velcro closure as well as a clamshell zippered that's mirrored on both sides. All the zippers on our vest close to the back of the vest, so it can't, when you're walking through brush, they cannot be pulled open. So if you're putting keys, wallet, different stuff like that, you've got that peace of mind to know that your stuff's not going to get pulled out when you're pushing brush, especially grouse hunting and stuff like that. Thicker cover and it's going to push through. But I like the zippered pouches because I can carry high value items. I carry a full-size camera in this particular pocket. It's nice to be able to balance out the vest. And then on the exterior of each of those, we have these other zipper pouches here. A lot of guys will use this pouch to drop a handheld in. They'll tether it onto one of the D-rings on the front of the waist belt here. Drop it in there so you've got a nice pouch for your handheld if you want to pull that out. Speaking of handhelds, that's really a can of worms when it comes to personal preference. There's 1,000 ways that guys like to do this. And so I really wanted to have, again, a foundation that guys could leverage and make for their own. So we do offer these handheld pouches. These are designed to attach onto the shoulder harness specifically. The horizontal webbing on both sides of this harness basically have spots behind them that this is going to lay flat again, that it's not in the way. But if you're running a bladder, you can feed that through there. If you're running one of these pouches, you can secure that to it. There's plenty of guys that just use, a carabiner, clip it on, and there's plenty of guys that also just run it on their sternum strap as well. Water bottle holders. Surprisingly enough, this is one of the most complimented features on our vest. It is structured along the top. We use a stiff webbing, a 2-inch webbing that goes around the circumference of it. And there's nothing more frustrating than trying to put a water bottle back into it. If you've backpack hunted, right, I can't do the ones where it rides on the side of my pack. I can't reach it, right? And if you're watering a dog or you're watering yourself, just being able to take a drink should be pretty intuitive. And so with a little bit of use, these just absolutely conform to those bottles. It's a no-look process. I can reach back, I can feel the holder, I can drop the bottle, and it's going to fall in. We don't run any bungee on these holders, specifically because it is fully submerged in there friction and gravity are great principles, and they do a great job of keeping those in place. The only way they may fall out is if you walk around on your hands in the woods, but I don't know too many bird hunters that can do that. So I run a set of hemostats on the front of my belt. I just feed that down to the molly webbing. If you run into quill pigs or porcupines, any sort of thing, cactus, different
Anything
stuff like
that sticks. Yeah.
anything that's going to stick a dog, it's nice to have the hemos there close. I can just pull them out, pull quills or pull a cactus and carry on. So I also have one of our shell holders on the front here. This is a brand new accessory that we've recently released, and you know, if you're hunting south of, you know, near the border, hunting down south, guys like carrying slugs, guys like carrying buckshots for coyotes, or if you're looking for a quick option to reload, that's awesome. The nice thing about it is it sits right at your navel line, right? So birds fly, you're shooting side by side or whatever, bang, bang. When you break the gun open, your hand's right next to your waistline already, so it's an easy way to grab,
Right in your
load the
workspace,
gun.
just
Right in your
there.
workspace, right? It's not, I don't have to come back to my shell pocket, I don't have to go anywhere else. It's right where your hands are falling. So a lot of thought, and just this is a culmination of my passion and love for gear and bird hunting, and just kind of poured my heart and soul into it. I've been super blessed that it's done what it's done, and grateful that we are where we are today.
You can definitely tell you didn't look over any detail, right? Everything that you wanted on there and everything that was missing that you thought, you know, Upland needs this.
Yeah,
It's right here.
Well, so. I often joke with people that I just make the gear that I want for myself, and then just sell the other stuff.
Yeah, I think we got one more thing to touch on.
Yeah, so this
Walk me
is
through that one.
Yeah, so this is our takedown gun case. We do have a full length case as well. Man, we've got a lot of bells and whistles. You can really outfit these kits, I'm sure, as you can see from here. But I love a good gun case. This is an 18-ounce waxed canvas. Wax canvas just kind of has that nostalgic vibe in the upland space. It feels good in the hand. It feels good in the hand. It's super durable, and they just look cool. And so this is a way to be able to store a takedown gun, whether that's a side-by-side or an over-under. You can fold that open. You can slide it in on either side here. And then as you're disassembling the gun, or you potentially want to do a quick field clean on the tailgate, you have a padded surface to be able to set that gun on. There's certain guns, I don't care if it gets another scratch because they're darn near walking sticks for me, but there are some guns that I like taking care of. And then the other thing we did is we added some of this molly webbing. So these same accessory pockets, you can put a rear pocket on either side here. You could theoretically have 4 of these on there. You could put the side pockets, so you can really build out a pretty robust kit. And I should have brought mine, but I have my gun, I have my transmitter, my collars. Like, I can basically have a field bag, if you will. So if, when I'm loading my gear up, you know, before I'm going to go hunt the next morning, maybe I'm still charging collars or whatever, I can get everything in one place, and I know if I grab this and load it in the truck,
Everything's there.
Everything's there, and I'm not going to forget anything. So we've got this. We've got a full-length case over there as well, but I feel like I've made a giant mess out of here.
No, this is perfect. Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, guys, this is all brand new to the GOHUNT Gear Shop. If you're looking to get out and still hunt through the winter or even early season where you're at, you know, Upland's the way to go. And Final Rise, Matt, you crushed it with this. Like, all these products are great. They're all here in the GOHUNT Gear Shop, everything we talked about today. And so if you're looking to get out and keep hunting, get a shotgun, get some dogs, pick up some Final Rise, and go do it.